July 12th, 2010. This is Diehard Gamer Radio, show 92.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go.
You are listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Ah, 92. I remember back when I forgot.
I guess that means we're old and out of touch now?
I wore an onion on my belt, as was the custom at that time.
And we liked it.
We used to call it Nicholas Bees because they had pictures of bees on them. We used to say, give me 5 bees for a quarter. Okay, well, welcome back to Old Man Radio.
5 rods to my hog's head.
And we have Old Man John, Old Man Steve, and Old Man Brian.
And Old Man River. There's Old Man River.
And I'm Old Man Murdock. I'm getting ready to be shot by Korean gang members and then giving my Gran Torino to a neighbor of mine. So anything we want to share before we actually get to
sharing time.
Sharing
time.
To our old-timey news.
Our old-timey news.
Yeah. Yes, we all came to the podcast on penny farthing bicycles. We all have handlebar mustaches.
We got a drink from the soda jerk.
Yeah, give me another month.
Yeah, we need. Yes, I'd like a lime Ricky and a lemon phosphate, please.
Give me a tab.
Yeah, that's pretty old. Yeah. That's up there with the Stein of Mead.
Well,
Although tab is apparently like a trendy geek drink now again or something.
Right up there with Pabst.
Now it's Schlitz. The hipsters have moved beyond Pabst, and now it's Schlitz.
Besides, they raised the price on PBR. So.
Well, yeah, because everybody, all the hipster douchebags want to drink it. So
why?
Damn kids, they come along and ruin everything.
Because the whole hipster ethos is to be ironic. So they've got money, but they drink beer that costs nothing. Now it costs more because everybody wants it. So they've moved on to other beer that doesn't cost anything.
And thus driving
Schlitz.
the price up of that shit as well.
So you have to move on to hams
Schlitz as well.
or something.
No, it'll be
from the land
no,
of
it's gonna be
Milwaukee. They're gonna work their way to like Modelo here in a few.
No, that's when they go across the border.
Modelo's actually pretty good beer, and it's just not cheap. So
wouldn't work at all.
No.
What about that generic beer that just comes in like the
it
white?
says beer.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring back Billy Beer.
I would buy that if they made that.
If they made beer. I think somebody tried to make a beer called beer like that to try and be like, to make it into a brand, and I don't think it worked.
Like,
yeah.
Well, who owns the right to the name beer?
Well, you'd have to make it trademarked. Like you'd have.
That's what I'm saying. Does somebody out there own the right to that name or that word?
It's a guy named John Beer.
Yeah, I don't think you could do that because it's like Kleenex. You can't sue somebody for calling something Kleenex. You can sue them for using the Kleenex trademark, but if they just call something Kleenex, you can't.
Because it's become so synonymous with tissue.
Well,
like
I mean,
Jell-O.
you have to defend that sort of thing. It's not like
Jell-O
copyrights
actually
where
got
you
away
don't have
with
to defend
suing
it.
somebody because a band came out that called themselves Green Jello, and they had to change their name about 4 months later.
They did. Those were the guys that
they
did
were Green Jelly, I think.
the Three Little Pigs song, or whatever
Yeah.
the hell it was. They were called Green Jello, and they're out of Seattle. And when they got big, they got sued because they were using the word Jello, so they had to change their name to Green Jelly.
And Jello is trademarked, they say, so.
Yeah, it
They
is.
got it.
So
Well, it is.
And apparently they're doing a good job of defending that one.
yeah, you got to.
I still want to go
Otherwise
to
you'll
the
lose it.
Repo Man supermarket and just have the rows and rows of white boxes.
I want to know how they get away with calling something the come and go, and nobody complains ever.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
pretty bad.
It's
There's one like in the middle of some Korean town or something. It's the come and go.
yeah. I don't understand why nobody complains about it. They complain about all sorts of ridiculous things, but come and go, no.
Meredith,
I did tell you
gets
that
annoyed
this
with
is the
me
Old
every
Man
time I snicker
podcast.
when I see one of
Come and
those.
go. It's so obvious. Like what?
There's some great ones out there. I saw one online the other day. It was Wanfu King Bookstore.
That's awesome.
And I was like, man, you'll never see that again.
All right. So enough of the old man ranting. We're turning into the guys from Cowboy Bebop. Oh yeah.
I was building that jump gate with a bunch of my friends. Where are the friends you were building the jump gate? Oh yeah.
I remember when Betamax came out.
I don't know. Our news is like a couple of weeks old, so by the time anybody hears it, it's going to be like it came from.
Yeah.
It sort of is. It's almost like you should have like some sort of blog posting on Diehard Gamer Radio.
I should.
Yeah.
But that takes effort, and I'm too
It
stuck
does.
in my old timey anime fan ways. When I was viewing New Type on Stone,
Oh.
and all my anime soundtracks were on wax
Cuneiform?
cylinders. Yeah. So first up, Dead or Alive 3DS, now with motion-controlled boobies, which interests.
So they're
Steve?
repurposing
All males.
So
But-
they're repurposing the what is it? The Ninja Gaiden jiggle option from the PS3.
Oh yeah,
Kasumi now with more Jello.
Jello is a registered trademark of the Jello Corporation.
Man, you're gonna make me not want boobs when you call them jiggling mammary milk tumors. That's just not. That's not cool, man. It's not cool.
Hey, I copied and pasted this from a different website,
We-
so blame them.
Weak sauce.
But you can manipulate the boobies with the motion control on the 3DS.
What kind of motion control does the 3DS have?
I don't know. I was trying to think of something really witty and funny, but
He's got nothing.
I got
Right.
nothing.
We don't even know how it works yet.
Well, it works through
Magic.
neutrinos.
Yeah.
Works through particles that don't interact with regular matter. Gotcha.
Hey, it's plausible. So it's powered on money.
Well, that's certainly true.
Insert your dollar bill here and you get to play for an hour.
That's not too far from the truth, actually.
Where's that strip club?
So next up, MDK2 coming to Wii and PC, which would interest Steve because he hasn't
Oh,
played a
MDK.
shiny game in like forever.
MDK.
So how can this be coming to PC?
Well, it's coming to Wii and PC.
Well, okay, so the Wii, I'm pretty sure MDK2 has not yet been released on the Wii.
Maybe it's like the MDK Remix 2. It's Championship Edition.
New high def version.
Yeah.
MDK
On the Wii?
HD. Oh wait,
on
yeah.
PC.
Damn.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's kids out today that don't even know who Shiny is. Or
Well-
what MDK is. MDK came out, the first one came out before I started working at EB. That's how old that game is.
So if they were actually going to do some work on it, not just release the same old crap, then wouldn't they start with the first one? and,
I don't know. Did you hear
reboot
what
the
they
whole
do you remember what they named the new Rambo movie?
Yeah. Okay.
Or the new Rocky movie.
Yeah. Hey, Stallone has a thing with that, huh? So what else did he do? He's just gonna name it the name of the main character.
Yeah.
Cobra?
Yeah, he already named that one Cobra.
Oh.
Yeah, but he could just do the remake and call it Cobra.
Cobra.
So I'm sure MDK will interest those who haven't played any shiny
was
properties
there
since
any-
Earthworm Jim or Wild 9.
Was there any news about what the hell this was? I mean,
Or are they just
This
saying
seems
MDK
so
too?
weird.
It's MDK2. That's all we know so far.
okay.
They have a very limited budget. They haven't had any revenue for some time.
It has been 20 years. They might want to start working on a game now.
No, they made their money off Path and Neo.
Oh, really?
That was a pretty good fighting game. I mean, the rest of there's a lot of parts of that game that were kind of superfluous, but the fighting system was actually pretty nice.
And well, critically panned, both those Matrix games sold a buttload of copies.
They did.
So next up,
Hey, did you actually see the new Rambo movie?
No.
I did happen to see the last 45 minutes last night on Spike TV.
Was that the better half?
I don't know. I haven't seen the first part. But I tell you, and I put this up in my comic as well, that the special effects budget for limbs being severed by explosive rounds or, torsos being torn in half by explosive rounds had to have been ginormous because
You
there's
buy
just...
in bulk.
I know. there's just limbs flying everywhere,
You get a
and it's
20%
not
off
like
limb discount.
and it's not like really like it's not bloodless dismemberment either. It's like gooey dismemberment in full frame. You're like, wow, that takes a lot of time to get to do that
Well,
sort of
if
thing.
you want really good effects, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Uh-huh.
Eh,
Apparently, over and over
Just
again,
saying.
over and over and over again. There's one part where he jumps onto like this machine gun that's mounted on the back of this Jeep, and one of the Burmese, because he's in Burma this time. One of the Burmese soldiers
That's all
is,
that's left.
is still in the cab. And so he takes the thing and he points it down and he shoots into the cab, and it's just chunks flying out of the cab. And I'm like, holy cow!
It's like a
That's
large
crazy.
Cuisinart.
It is. It was like, wow, that's really excessive violence. And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of movies, and rarely have I seen a movie that was as excessively violent as the most recent Rambo
Yeah.
movie.
Now, does this
On
get
the
into
plus side, though, that doesn't affect you at all.
No.
You just need to stay off the Farmville, because that'll turn you into a
Yeah.
rampaging murderer.
Yep. Apparently.
Yeah. So did it? So it was excessive. Did it actually get to the point of becoming impressive violence?
No, because usually the impressive violence involves like something like Equilibrium, where like the violence it's some sort of stylistic impressiveness to the violence.
Or the
This
way
was
he does
just
it, yeah.
it just kept going and going, and like when you're watching the pilot of a PT boat and if somebody fires around and you actually see the entry wound and then the exit wound from behind, and you can momentarily see through the guy as he
Yeah.
falls. I mean, there was a lot of technical expertise to the violence, but it was never impressive. It was just like, wow, there's more of this. This isn't
Yeah.
going on a long
Like
time.
that,
They ever have a
Sharon
reaction
Stone,
shot from the dude next to one of these guys?
No, because they're usually dead too.
It's
All
like
right.
that Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman movie, that Western, where she ends up killing him in the end, and you just see the sunlight coming through his body on the ground, and he can see it himself. He's like, "Oh, there's a hole in me," right before he dies.
No, I don't remember. I don't know
Bad
that
movie.
one.
Had Leonardo DiCaprio
All
in
right.
it too.
All right. I'm moving. I'm
I don't
reining
know
this
that
was
podcast
that
back
the Quick
in.
and the Dead?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
All right.
Quick
So
and
Virtual
Fantastic.
Fighter 5 Final Showdown Arcade is Twitter
But what
enabled.
does this have to do about remakes of old movies?
Yeah.
You're straying, Murdock.
I know. I know.
Keep with the show.
Yeah. So Twitter enabled Virtual Fighter 5. It will not end well.
Does
What-
it
what does
Twitter
that
every
even
time
mean?
you punch somebody?
Well, it might be. So you get you get the Twitter feed, and my comment was Twitter updates with this feed. Had opponent with less than 5% health, then got KO'd by ring out, which is very likely to happen in Virtual Fighter.
So this is gonna turn Twitter to spitter because it's gonna be spamming Twitter.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, or I could see it with other games like Mortal Kombat or something like that. Killed guy very violently.
Yeah.
Next.
Fatality.
Probably what they would do is just like Twitter when you get an achievement or trophy thing.
That would make a
Yeah,
lot more
but
sense. to me,
this is
just like
for-
you do with the PS3 on Facebook.
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
is for an arcade game.
Oh. So you're going to have to put your Twitter information into an arcade cabinet?
Yeah,
I
that
would-
doesn't
I
make
would
any
assume
sense
so.
to me.
That seems like a recipe for success.
Especially in the
looking
US.
forward to harvesting Twitter passwords.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
much.
got a feeling they're just gonna have some hard drive built into it, and you have to go and put your name in there, and every time you come up and register, you sign your name in
Well,
again.
what will probably happen is Sega will have a portal, and you just assign your Twitter account, and then you sign in on the arcade with your Twitter login, and it just
Oh yeah,
connects the two.
that's not
That
abuse at
sounds
all.
convenient.
Yeah.
They should do like Neo Geo did,
This
where you
doesn't-
had the memory card, and you just plugged it into the bottom, and
Yeah.
you could take off on your game from that point forward.
This
and-
this would be a big concern if there were arcades left in the United States.
That's true.
Yeah, that does make
so all the
us
Twitter, all
simpler.
the tweeting we're gonna see from this is gonna be like in Korean and Japanese.
No, it's be like somebody's gonna find an arcade in the United States and Twitter from it once, and it's gonna be the most profitable arcade in the history of all arcades.
Well,
People will fly to that arcade.
well, Steve, we do have arcades in this country. They're called laundromats.
Yeah, Smileys is awesome. I wouldn't go there
Again
past
with the
6 p.m.,
Smileys.
but
All right.
and without a friend.
Well,
Alright.
the
And
alternate
park your
option,
car in the back with the door open. I'm sorry, what?
the alternate option is they're called bars.
Yeah, true. So next up, Microsoft states hardcore gamers will buy Kinect first, and they will in opposite land. So
Yeah.
yeah, but in bars they don't have like Virtual Fighter. They have like Golden Tee.
Yeah, they
Golf.
got T. Yeah,
I
freaking golf games.
mean, there are people who own 360s, so if you buy Kinect for your 360, aren't you probably a hardcore gamer by definition?
No. You could
'Cause
you could have
casual
you could have
gamers pick up 360s instead of Wii's.
well, they do. They're
In
just
Bizarro Land.
It's all those people that bought a 360 when they couldn't find a PS3 or a Wii.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap.
Yeah,
I
that
got
might
this-
be what it would take. Yeah.
I got this giant gray brick on the ground. I
It
keep
isn't
tripping
really a
over it.
casual gaming platform, that's for certain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm
I'm
still-
looking forward
I
to the
mean-
bundle coming out for it.
Yeah,
'cause
I'm-
I gotta buy a new 360, and the thing sounds cool.
The only thing I'm really interested in this is the dance game because that actually looked pretty cool. when
The
they were
yoga
doing
thing
it.
looked pretty cool too.
I didn't see
Yoga?
the yoga, but the
What?
Michael Jackson
There's a
dance game looked awesome, and I
Well,
was
it
like,
was
that would be
Dance
really
Central.
cool.
Yeah. that Harmonix is doing.
But all the exercise games, it makes
Looked
a
really
lot
cool.
of sense.
Well, there's a yoga one where like it tells you to do a position, right? And then it looks at you doing the position, and if you're doing it wrong, it tells you what to fix,
Wow,
which is pretty awesome.
which is pretty
That's
neat.
like having your own yoga teacher.
Yeah,
That
it's
would
like
be
it's
kinda cool.
pretty neat. There's a lot of cool things you can do with the Kinect. It's just that the hardcore quote unquote gamers are all butthurt because it's really not for them.
Aw.
Yeah, it's like,
back
well, I
again.
can't play, Formula Day. Can't play Forza with it. Well, no shit. That's why you have a controller.
Yeah.
You know, I
Buy a
mean-
steering wheel, you bastard.
Oh no, I'm really worried that I can't play. I don't know.
Fable.
Yeah, Fable 2.
Well, actually, Fable 3 is going to be Kinect enabled, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think they said that was going to have some Kinect stuff.
What the hell do you do with that?
I don't know. Well, you
Are they
puts
gonna be like
weird
mini
shit
games
in
at
his
the bars?
Yeah.
Might be.
Well, yeah, it's Peter Molyneux, so
Play
who
darts
the
with
hell?
potatoes.
Who knows what the hell he's gonna
The,
do?
the
'cause-
fishing game might end
Yeah,
up
he could-
Kinect only.
Yeah, when are you going to come up with black and white on Kinect?
That might be Kinectimals.
Populous.
Yeah, populous.
You
with
can
Kin-
pick up your dudes and you can send them wherever.
No,
you
that's
want.
actually not a bad idea.
See, that's
You
what I'm
just
talking-
kind of like reach out, grab the globe,
I'm
spin it around.
Now I can see some awesome RTS
Yeah,
possibilities
and
for
you can-
that.
there's
That would be
there's
really
cool things you can do, but
And then
everybody's all
it's going to
butthurt
turn
about
into
this.
Minority Report.
Well, everybody's all butthurt about the racing thing. I mean, it's like this major focus for the butthurt that the racing thing. You're like, well, how would you even do that? Well, who the hell cares? You
Is
get
that
your
just 'cause
peripherals
that
for the
was
race.
first demo they did?
I don't know. They went on for like weeks talking
Yeah.
about how do you control acceleration? Well, who cares? Just use a controller.
Yeah.
I don't, the thing that seems way more exciting to me about Kinect than the Wii is, I mean, the Wii was like, a light gun with an accelerometer on the end. And
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious what it was going to be good at, and
Yeah.
turned out to be good at those things.
Look, waggle.
Except for Red Steel.
Well, they said Red
well,
Steel
that's
2 was
because
an
people
improvement.
wanted it to be good at sword fighting, but it never was
Yeah.
good at sword fighting.
Yeah. That's
the
one of the things.
exception.
Everybody was all orgasming all over themselves about the Star Wars thing. I'm like, well, but there's still no force feedback when you hit somebody else's lightsaber. So
It's still
It's
going to
gonna
be
suck.
just waving the thing around in front of you.
that's
Yeah,
still gonna
it'd be
suck.
cool if there was like some built-in vibration to tell you. It's
Well,
like
even when they
cling,
do
cling,
the
you know
vibration,
it,
though,
you
it's
feel it.
you just swing through.
You
I
swing
mean, you
through.
never get blocked or
Yeah.
stopped,
Yeah.
so it never
It's
really
losing
works.
a really sort of a haptic feedback thing.
That was
does-
the same
because-
argument with all the original racing wheels, is that
Yeah.
you had no force feedback and you couldn't tell. And by the time you turned all the way left, you were all the way across the road on the other side
Yeah.
of the road, off the road, and you're like,
Oh,
I
but
can't fill
You,
this.
you just
And
can't.
it's
You
not
just
like
can't.
Kinect hasn't answered any of that.
Yeah.
It's just, I think with Kinect, I have no idea what that thing's going to be good for and how it's going to
Yeah.
work. It's a lot.
Well, apparently it's going to be good at dancing games and yoga.
Well, it's anything that needs to like.
I'd
There's so
avoid
much more.
Pilates, but
There's so much more possibilities in something that actually tracks your whole body as opposed to just
Yeah.
the location of this little waggle stick that you have
Yeah.
that has like a $10 plastic attachment to make you think that you're using something different.
and by the way, speaking about the Wii Zapper, Brian, Sin and Punishment on the Wii actually has a mode where you can actually use the Wii Zapper instead of the controller.
huh,
So you can play it completely like a light gun game.
nice.
So I wanted to bring that to your attention because I know
Yeah, I
that
was
would
going
be
to ask if you'd
interesting.
pick that up. Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
it looked pretty cool.
It's awesome and it's ungodly hard.
Oh, of course, the first one was ridiculous.
So, which, I like the hard games. So, next up, Milo, not intended for retail release, which will make Steve very disappointed.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to like fucking with Milo's mind. I was really looking forward to that.
So it's unfortunate.
Hello, Mike. Hello, Milo. This is a hooker. Hello, hooker.
Yeah.
We're going to play a game. Okay.
I will break you, Milo.
Now you're just gonna have to wait for Seaman 2 to come out
On the Kinect.
on the Kinect.
The Kinect version of Custer's Revenge.
I don't think so, Tim.
Oh.
So next up, OnLive reports that OnLive had a smooth launch. Gee, what a surprise!
You missed. You skipped one.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
All right.
He's having too much fun with this one.
So basically, OnLive has reported a state of the service on its official blog after 10 days of accepting beta users, and from the report, everything seems to be going well. While there are a few bugs, the service has been up 24/7 since launch, and it has accommodated far more members at this stage than ever anticipated. So I think they're up to, 10 people now?
Yeah,
Wow,
as a
this
cat-
thing released?
Yeah.
It's accommodated them. Now, whether it accommodated them well or satisfactorily, that's a different question
That's our
entirely.
next news bit, which is the OnLive latency tested. So best case scenario, we counted 10 frames delay between button and response screen, giving 150 millisecond latency once the display contribution, blah, blah,
It's
blah.
like 175 times less fast than your monitor.
Yes. And then,
Well, not 175
sorry.
times.
Yeah,
as fast.
and then
175%.
So
Okay.
Assassin's
So, like,
Creed 2 operated at a
1.5
wide
times
range
less.
between 150 milliseconds and 216.
Ugh.
OnLive says that the system works within 1,000 miles of its data centers on any broadband connection that recommends 5 megabytes per second or better. So basically, FiOS.
Well,
well,
no, you need video streaming speeds, which
Well, 5 megabits. I mean, you get 5. The basic tier for a Comcast is 6. So, but just because you've got the bandwidth doesn't mean your ping time's any good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And it
all-
doesn't help that the data center is in Laos.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like the Philippines.
Yeah, you get one bad node down the line, you're screwed no matter what
Oh,
you're
yeah,
playing.
I mean, it's-
it was interesting hearing the reviews for this because it sounds like the games that play well were not the ones that I expected.
yeah.
It sounds like the FPSs actually work reasonably well because I guess people are used to adjusting to lag there.
Oh,
But things like
Interesting.
RTSs and adventure
Not so
games where
much.
you have to move a mouse clicker and click on things
Yeah,
get to
not
be
so
pretty
much.
painful.
Stuff that's actually going slower is harder. That's kind of funny.
Well, FPSs use a lot of tricks to make you think that it has a better response than it actually does, especially in online multiplayer.
so
so
you just
they'll,
train
like-
yourself to.
Well, they basically they creatively delay certain things and kind of they suggest to you that things have happened that haven't happened yet, so that it seems more responsive. So
So next up, PS3 gets video edit feature in firmware update, which is awesome because I don't know why.
I don't know what the point of this is.
Because they
It-
needed to put something in a firmware update that wasn't just removing shit.
Yeah, that
So-
wasn't
Yeah,
just
they added
screwing the
Facebook.
consumer.
Yay, Facebook.
Yeah, it adds
Okay.
Facebook, Picasa, photo support, and the whole PlayStation Plus thing. Also, when is Sony going to start making the PS3 a game system?
Well,
Like seriously, most people have Windows Media, Movie
they
Maker.
haven't gotten around to it yet. They're not gonna.
Actually,
Well, they pushed the whole fact when it first came out that it's going to do all these things. The X crossbar, blah blah blah, is going to have all these options.
We just
and-
assumed that meant it would be good at games.
Yeah.
We just didn't
Yeah.
have to talk
It
about
was
it.
like the
you
before.
were
foregone
wrong,
conclusion.
mister.
The PS3 not intended as a gaming system.
It just coincidentally
They should just
happens
put
to
that
do
on-
on the side.
they should put that on the box like a Surgeon General's
Yeah,
warning.
not intended for games. Not intended for gaming enjoyment.
I think that's in the EULA somewhere. Not fit for any particular purpose.
Actually, it's interesting.
Please enjoy the PS3 responsibly.
Actually,
Well, yeah, and in fact, remember when you're not playing it, you can switch it over so that it becomes a processor for the supercomputer. And
actually, they got rid of that because you can't put
Can't run
another
Linux on it anymore.
installer
Air Force
OS
is-
anymore.
Air Force is really
Oh.
going to be pissed off
no,
about
he's
that one.
talking about the folding at home stuff,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
you
yeah.
can still get to.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, you can turn it on; it becomes part of the supercomputer network of
Oh,
processing
wow.
power
Oh,
to.
yeah.
But by the way, speaking about the EULA, Sony actually updated the EULA today, including a warning about 3D gaming. That if you're like under the age of 6, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Did they include the bit that we'll take your money, but 1 out of 10 of you won't actually be able to see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What was it like? 14% of
Yeah.
British people can't
It was
see
12,
3D.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
That's
of the
still
human
a large
population.
percentage.
Wow.
They
Large
just
enough.
they have just skewed enough stereoscopic vision that they can't see in 3D. Well, they can see in 3D. They have parallax viewing, but they don't.
That's kind of a bitch.
It doesn't work for them.
It is going to
So-
be interesting whether or not they're going to, try and make that will known, or if there's going to end up being a class action
Yeah.
lawsuit down the road for your 3D shit doesn't
Listen,
work.
this is why I don't.
I'm betting on the class actions.
This is why I don't care about 3D until it's a neural interface. Because then
Well, you're plugging directly in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, then
There's
I'm.
nothing in between that can go wrong.
Well, exactly. Well, I mean, there's a lot that could go wrong. I mean,
So-
how many people are we going to find in vegetative states because they opened on "Click me, you have won $1 million in Britain"? But
Yeah. They're in a
Don't you mean
Nigeria. They're in a
or
vegetative
they
state
used the
now.
wrong adapter for their neural plug.
Yeah,
and
they're-
jammed it in an inch
they're
too
part
far.
of a. They're literally part of a botnet.
Oh, look at Johnny Mnemonic just fried his neural synapses.
Their brain logs onto an EFNet channel, and they all just get received commands from one script kiddie somewhere.
They clicked on that X10 advertisement.
Yeah.
Wow, X10. Wow.
Now they just call up all their friends and relatives and tell them how great the product is.
Yep. Over and over again,
So
several
Steve,
times a day.
So Steve, when do
Oh,
you plan
man.
on joining Section 9, and what color is your Tachikoma going to be?
I don't know. Haven't touched
Remember
going
in
pretty cool.
Ghost in the Shell, the game, everybody gets their own Tachikoma.
Well, yeah, but I meant a real one.
You can get this ridiculously large distributor that Em and Roger have been talking about that they finally got in with. There's one really ridiculously huge size Tachikoma that you can buy. I mean, it's like
You can go stand inside of it or fit inside of it.
it's huge. It's
Yeah.
absolutely huge.
Was
And
it
you're
like 1/10
Is it like
scale or
those
something like that?
people-size Gundam model scales?
yeah. Well, there's that Gundam. They did a Gundam and they did
They did
An
a
Eva.
Tetsujin 28. Well, there's
Yeah,
the Ava's just the it's
the
just the
top part of it.
cockpit, but there's a 1/1 scale.
Well, but no, but
It's
there's
like
like
the
the
RX-7.
6-foot tall Gundam models you can buy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I wonder
there's
if it's
that
on the
too.
same scale as
you can
those.
buy like a 1 to 3 scale Motoko Kusanagi model.
It's pretty big.
Yeah. So it's like
Yeah,
These
but you
all-
would prefer a 1/1 scale.
well, only
They
if
have
it was a sex droid.
full-size- They have like the stand-up Gundams that are like 8 feet tall too. You can put in your house.
That's like a 110 model.
Does not come with the Minovsky particles in order to run it.
No.
So
Well, you plug it into the wall.
Well, you have to get it to a
Radio
Lagrange point.
Shack?
You have to get it to a Lagrange point first. That's where they keep all that stuff.
a what?
The
A
launch
Lagrange
elevator.
Oh, is that Emerald's last name?
No.
That cook?
No,
Emerald Lagrange.
no.
Oh, okay. All right. So next up, we have Sega considering Saturn download releases for PSN and XBLA, which will be awesome for people who remember the Saturn.
And who bought a Saturn?
Well, or still have. Well, people who have a
Yeah,
Saturn
it's
won't
not gonna,
care.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give a shit.
Yeah. But I can't think of any Saturn game that they could release on PSN and XBLA off the top of my head, other than probably like Panzer Dragoon Saga. And
Virtual On might be cool if they could update it.
well, yeah,
But I still want to be able to use my sticks.
But what didn't Virtual On come out for other platforms too, though?
Yeah.
Only 2, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
then,
for,
then
like,
we had that news
PSX or
article that they
PS2.
were making an XBLA version, I think.
Virtual On.
well, there's
Yeah.
two now because there's
Yeah, they're actually
there's the
making a second
Ontario Tangerine,
Right.
and then there's the Virtual On Force, which is coming out.
New one that's coming out. Okay.
one. The wacky sticks.
So for those who wanted to play Bug or what was it, Clockwork Knight, get ready.
We sold a fair number of Clockwork Knights.
Well, it was that and Bug. I think those were the only two games that came out. Well, Panzer Dragoon came out,
Yeah, good
but
times.
the creator of Panzer Dragoon actually said that he's not going. They're not going to release Panzer Dragoon Saga on PSN or XBLA because they can't find the source code.
Jesus.
Happens a lot.
That was the best fucking game they made, too.
How many times have we heard that?
That doesn't mean they can't do it, though.
Well,
That would just
It
mean they have
it
to
would be
write a Saturn
infinitely
emulator.
easier
Yeah.
with the source code.
Yeah,
It
they'd have
depends.
to
I
write
mean,
an emu.
You figure there's got to be, when they're doing like all the NES games and Super Nintendo games and such that they brought out with, I don't think they, found the source code and rewrote all of those to work. I think they wrote the emulator once.
Yeah.
Or downloaded the emulator from somewhere
Well,
else.
and tweaked it because they had, knowledge of the various Nintendo internals and
Yeah.
make it work better, less glitchy.
So
Or
next,
just because they had a library of every game ever to test with.
Yeah.
wow. So next up, R-Type coming to iPhone, which now means that R-Type has been ported to every single system known to man.
Hasn't been ported to my little Nokia.
It will.
So, is there a good control scheme for a shmup on a touchscreen device?
Espgaluda 2
Yeah, it
on the
does it pretty
iPhone
well.
2.
Does it pretty much follow your finger?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's actually, I played it and it works pretty well.
I really
Because
got
a
annoyed
shooter's
with
the kind of thing where you never have to worry about, where your ship is or what's near it, or
Well, you don't actually hold your finger directly over your ship. You hold it off to the corner, and it automatically assumes position where your finger moves. So now you control it.
so
So
it's
you're-
all like relative to where your
Exactly.
finger
Yeah,
is.
you're not having to be
Okay.
directly overhead. That was my big worry too. And I bought it, played it, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. You can put your finger anywhere. It just attaches the instant you put your finger down, and now it moves, and you're never blocking your
okay.
own view. So that makes a huge difference.
assuming because I have seen shmups that you have to press over the top of your ship.
Is this
and then you have to
Galaga again?
type
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
just bad design.
Just bad.
Because it's like, who the hell is going to be able to see around their damn hand while
Yeah.
they're flying the
Just
ship?
not
I
good.
mean, it's not like you get enough obstacles on the screen already.
Yeah, it's
you
like
really
your
need
fist
a big
is in
finger.
front of it there.
And they did a cool thing too, where they put you can flip it for left or right hand, but on the bottom left you have two other buttons you can hit with your other hand while you're holding it for your bomb, and then for like a charge, that's just never interfering with the game itself. But it's really pretty. And like I was
Seems
telling
like
you
a good
earlier,
solution.
You
Yeah.
should really check it out if you get a chance.
I'll show you after the game, after the podcast.
The
So,
game, yes.
They
Who's
put
gonna
out
win?
some
Who will win
huge
the podcast?
Downloads for it too, like over 10 megs a pop for add-on upgrade stuff, and it's like these are some huge downloads. I gotta go plug it in my PC so I can download it. It's too big for my damn phone.
So next up, Blizzard required, this is, they required real first and last names and then scraps real ID plans, which created a lot of fuss
Well,
on
they-
the internets, and then,
And they sort of scrapped it.
well, yeah.
I mean, the idea is still around, and they're still going to be doing the Facebook integration and such things.
Yeah, which
with
is
it.
an awesome
didn't-
idea.
They just
think-
rolled back the forum bit.
I never had a problem with this.
So you don't have any problem with some night elf mohawk finding out that you're actually Steve Walsh.
No,
Living in-
because
Yeah.
if they found out anything more than my normal name, it's my fault. Because there's like
That's true.
10,000 Steve Walshes in the United States, so they would need to know additional information about me in order to find me and do anything to me. And if they are able to do that, it's my fault for putting it out there.
That's true.
I'm not so lucky.
Well,
I'm
Can't
probably
help
the
you there.
luckiest.
maybe you need to change your name there, John. I have a unique last name.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, there's got to be a dozen John Shits out there.
So we welcome back John Thornberry to the podcast.
John Smith.
That
Yeah.
would work better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your name was Robert Smith, you'd be even better.
Wasn't he like the lead singer of something?
Of
Cure.
The Cure.
Oh,
Hello, I'm Robert Smith from The Cure.
Now I'm just pudgy, fat, and I tour a lot.
He is not a thin man anymore, and
Yeah,
it is
I know,
really
it's
kind of
like-
weird watching him perform live. Like, ooh,
Watching
Man.
them like having flashbacks to the old movie The Mask, like the
it's-
'80s with Cher and
Yeah.
the kid with the big face.
It's just
Like, nah, that's not normal.
no. I mean, he needs to do
Robert
too
Smith,
many
I mean.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
But it's anytime you watch any of those British guys that were skinny in like the 80s or the 70s, and aside from David Bowie,
Wonder
They're
what
all,
Morrissey
like,
looks
just-
like now.
he's probably depressed.
Yeah. did I tell you I cried?
Yeah,
so
they
You
all,
might-
they
you
all
might
just
be
look
able to
like
find-
old British dudes now.
you might be able to find Brian Jones when he's playing, Warcraft.
Yeah, and my other 99,000
Yeah.
accomplices.
No, you just happen to be the only Brian Jones on Warcraft. They're gonna be like, it's this guy we know.
Yeah, not likely.
So there's been a lot of war garble on this.
There was an extremely large amount of war garble.
I don't know. I think they just need to use the something awful model. Pay $5 to change somebody else's avatar or signature line. It's totally an awesome method of self-policing the community.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I'd spend so much money just to fuck with people.
I think that's the idea. There's a reason something awful, even though it's like, it's the armpit of the internet, is still around and funded.
Because it works.
Well, it keeps what's
Evilly
his name,
well, but
keeps what's his name and
Richard
bill pays.
Lotax.
And it keeps his bills.
I don't think
bills paid.
Lotax is particularly involved anymore.
Oh yeah.
He moved on some years ago, I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, ever
What's
since
the
he got
point
his
of the
ass
forum
kicked
then?
by Yui Bowl, he's probably in traction somewhere.
is that he's probably talking to the guy that sold Apple for $800 or sold his shares of Apple for $800.
What,
Like,
Wozniak?
No, there was some like co-idea guy supposedly was like kicking himself now.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. There's some weird article I read the other day. Like, yeah, this guy's probably really pissed at himself.
There's a guy who's the vice president of Next. He's kicking himself.
Yeah.
So next up on our OS2 news. Oh, wait.
Oh, it's what?
Oh, it's too warp.
Yeah. So next, most console gamers still prefer
Still Predator.
still prefer physical media. So a recent survey conducted by Ipsos in the UK revealed that 64% of the 1,000 users polled would rather have games on physical discs, while only 25% would prefer digital copies, which,
Well,
Yeah,
who
but
cares
not a
what
big-
people prefer? It's whether or not they buy it when they're forced to do the digital option.
Oh, there's that.
What's
Well,
the-
I mean,
it's
the
the
Sony
UK
Go,
there.
the PSP Go is a perfect example of this.
The PSP what?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
but that
It's
was wrong
gone.
on so many levels. I don't know if that was a litmus test for digital distribution so much as charging more for less. It doesn't work out well.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well, and like Sony, they fail at everything they start off with initially because they don't give you a reason.
Now-
they don't
now-
entice you into actually buying something new. If
Now-
they've given some free games away with it and motivated you to have something to play with,
Now, wait a
maybe.
minute. I hear Betamax is making a comeback. Okay.
This is
Yeah, it's
the-
probably supported by Sony.
it's
Oh, wait a minute.
this is the UK. They're like barely out of the 1950s. So really, not really.
It doesn't matter.
It's not demonstrative of anything.
Not the best
Yeah.
litmus test.
That's true.
And it's because we're not moving to digital media because people thought it was a good idea and wanted it. It's because the game companies think it's harder for people to steal their games that way.
Well, and
Well, it is
then
cheaper
you
in
can't
the end
sell it
result
to the
too, because you're not
user.
having to pay to produce
Well,
physical
You
copies.
also have to figure that for the game companies, selling your used copy is stealing.
Well, yes. I mean, they don't get any money from you buying a used copy, so therefore.
Yeah, but they made their money on the first
Well,
sale.
It doesn't.
you
mean
can
they
say
don't-
that till you're blue in the face. It's not like they're not going to try and find out.
Well,
there's a
that's
reason why
EA
they
is
have
doing
the,
that compromise now, where you have to pay $5 to
Yeah,
go download,
yeah,
and they
exactly.
want a little more piece of the pie.
That's why the
'cause
people got mad at
the greedy
GameStop for
bastards.
selling used games that didn't have the DLC stuff in it.
So next up, Vendetta Online coming to Android, and Steve shared this with me for some reason.
it looked kind of cool.
It's kind of a neat idea because it's not like it's not a different game. You actually play the game that everybody else does on your iPhone.
Well, it's almost like Farmville on the Android. It's a
Yeah.
community type thing where everybody can be connected
Well,
to each other.
Except that
Yeah,
it's
but
a
it-
It
effects
is a
on each other.
PC Morpeg, and it's
Yeah.
going to be a PC Morpeg on a phone.
yeah. I mean, but the downside is that this game is kind of very mediocre. I actually loaded up a trial of it. Apparently, I had done once before because it complained that I was using the email again, and it was so forgettable that I didn't even remember that I had tried it once already.
Whoops.
And it was still pretty forgettable. I'm hoping that the guys who did Jumpgate Evolution paid attention to the boring parts of this game.
Well, at this point, I mean, the sysrecs on WoW have to be getting pretty close to your average smartphone.
Yeah. Well, the sysrecs go up every time they do an expansion, though.
Okay, so
So-
limit it to the initial starting
Yeah,
areas.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So when Meridian 59 comes out on your smartphone, we'll let you know.
I thought it was really funny that the first real advertiser that they sold an advertising contract to for Penny Arcade was Meridian 59 in like 2003. And I'm like, what? That game was still operative, much less paying people to advertise.
And they went and spent money on Penny Arcade?
Well, I mean, if you're
It
gonna
doesn't seem
spend
like-
on, I mean, there's worse places to spend it on, but at
That
Meridian
seems like a
50
weird thing, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, while we're talking about MMOs and everything, how's Huxley coming along?
Oh, glad to find out.
Got to throw that in. You
It's
brought up
the doom of
Jumpgate
the-
Evolution,
But,
so
Doom
you know.
of
But
this
it-
generation.
Jumpgate Evolution had a demo and a damn nice demo at E3 this year. Huxley, I mean,
They didn't
people
show
are
up.
still wondering why Brave New World gets mentioned all the time.
Has there been any more news about that Lego massively multiplayer game?
I haven't
Lego
heard anything.
Universe.
Yeah.
I
Just
haven't
I
heard
wondering what
think it
Net
was at
Devil's up to
E3.
these
I
days.
think
Was
they
it?
did something at the E3 with it
I haven't
because
seen
there was a
any
big
videos
Lego
with it.
thing there.
I haven't seen any videos.
There was a Lego contingent
I don't know if there was
at
videos,
E3.
but I know Lego made a presence there and somebody talked about it.
Well, they're having Lego. What the fuck is their Lego game that's coming out now?
See, they just did Rock Band. Harry Potter just came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the next one is.
I was just wondering how Net Devil was doing because I still think Auto Assault could have been a really good single player game.
Yeah. Well, Auto Assault would have been better had I known it came out. I mean, literally, I
it
heard
was
about
really very lightly advertised.
I got the beta invite for it that I never got around to playing, and then the next thing I heard about it, it was shutting down.
It was like 3 months after release.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was absolutely
very low.
ridiculous.
It obviously didn't make quite
Well,
the.
it's like that. What was that MMO? That fantasy MMO where like everything was combat with other people. Remember that one? It was like PvC was the concentration, and like you got leveling for fighting against other people. Can't remember what the fuck it was. That one lasted like 2 months too.
obviously, it
remember what it's
wasn't that
called.
important.
I have to look up what it was because we talked about it once. We are like, oh, it might be kind of interesting, but apparently not so much.
So
I downloaded that demo for APB too, and I haven't installed it yet because all the Twitter stuff that was on their page said, "Don't play this game until if they fix these bugs."
Some people
Just
were
that
really
broken.
pissed.
apparently it's at least some now. Granted, this is an MMO crowd, and so MMO
Right.
crowds are the whiniest gamers in the history of gaming.
Yeah.
But you know, you would think. I'm just saying, if you have your own Twitter feed on your page, and it's mostly concerning how bad your game is,
Pay attention.
yeah, maybe, just maybe, at least go the Sony route and pull the Twitter feed off of your page.
That's
Just
really
talking about
unfortunate,
saving some face.
That's
too,
a really
'cause,
great idea.
Real Time Worlds could have been working on Crackdown 2 and making it a good game, and instead it looks like we got a crappy Crackdown 2, and
Yeah.
maybe we get a crappy APB too.
Well, there were a lot of people. I read a bunch of folks that actually liked Crackdown 2. So I don't know. We'll see.
Some of the things I was reading it was more fun because it seemed like it was simpler.
Yeah, it sounds like it has less stuff and less to do than the first game.
Well,
Less
have to
maybe
see.
that's
When it
more
gets down
mission
to
types.
When
Maybe
it
that's
gets-
more parred towards the multiplayer aspect though, and not the single.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
there's
there's
apparently
also-
one mission you do about 30 times. That's the game.
well, we'll have to. I'll have to see what happens
should
when it comes
crack
out.
down on the designers.
All right. So
That's
next,
not-
We need
well,
new
it's a different
content,
production
bitches.
team, so.
all right.
Because
Well,
Microsoft took so long to figure out whether or not they wanted to do a Crackdown 2 that the original team went off
They've
and did
moved
something
on and done
else.
something
For
else.
APB.
okay. So next up, DJ Hero, not a flop after all. It sold 1.2
Wah,
million,
wah, wah.
which is 1.1 million than more than what we thought it would.
1.111
Yeah.
one more.
Yeah. So, are you still planning on picking up DJ Hero? Just out of curiosity,
I
Steve?
don't know.
I'm debating on whether it's worth buying now at the really cheap or waiting for the second one to come out that might be better.
As
Kind of
soon
a
as I get a
toss-up.
working Xbox and come over and give it a shot.
By the way, for those keeping track, this is John's 25th Xbox that he's gone through.
And DJ Hero did kill this one.
Oh, really?
Well, or to be
It was
specific,
already
the
on its
Xbox
end, wasn't
killed
it?
my DJ Hero.
Really?
Because got a nasty grinding noise in the middle of playing it, pulled it out, and saw the ring of death on the back side of the disc.
Wow.
So your little grommets died in the middle of playing, huh?
It was not good.
Yeah.
So, why don't you just buy a new Xbox at this point? The new
I will.
bow tie.
But now what I figure I'm waiting for is them to do those Connect bundles, because it looks like they're probably going to shave some money off the whole
Are
thing.
you really going to buy Connect?
Looks like a good time. Dance Central looks like fun.
Looks entertaining.
Yeah.
I
By
will-
the
I'm
way,
going
the
to
cheaper-
seriously
by-
consider it.
By the way, this is just for our listeners out there, both of you. This is the podcast where I have lost all respect for John.
Well, apparently
So,
for Steve as
at
well.
this moment
so-
right now, let's
That'd be duly noted.
I thought that was when I
let
put
me-
casual gamer up as my gamer motto.
Well, that was part of it. So, 7:48 p.m. on July 12th is the day that I lost respect for John.
Yes,
so,
yes,
so
yes,
mark
yes,
that on
yes.
your calendar, people, because we'll be celebrating in a year from now.
It wasn't. It
Says
was,
the man who owns a Wii.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
yeah.
I only play hardcore games on
on,
it.
on the Wii.
Yes.
Really?
You're playing hard something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. So, casual game.
Totally a casual gamer these days.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I'm lucky if I'm even
I get my ass
casual, I
around
don't-
actually gaming.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I'm a hardcore gamer. So there.
He likes apple cider white games.
Yeah. So last but not least, Dragon Age 2 announced, which would be awesome for Steve.
Oh god, I gotta play the first one of those still.
Well, there's that.
I downloaded it, I just haven't played.
Enjoy the first about 45 minutes of it, and then just prepare to be frustrated for the rest of the game. First 45 minutes, though, really freaking awesome. And
So-
then you better enjoy strategic role-playing games where you get your ass kicked on a regular basis.
So it's
'Cause
like
that's pretty
Demon.
much what the rest of the
It's
game
like
is.
Demon Souls.
I
except I
would be
heard
more
that-
excited about Dragon Age 2 if the first one wasn't an exercise in frustration.
Didn't they patch that game to make it easier?
No, they did not.
Error.
I can't bring myself to play another fantasy game running around with a bunch of goddamn dwarves and elves.
I think they're all humans in this one. Might be an elf.
I know there's
It's not really
elves.
dwarves.
Don't know about dwarves.
Well,
There's
there's
definitely
a-
elves.
There's a whatchamacallit. There's a hot little witchy chick turns into a spider.
Wow.
That doesn't sound sexy at all.
She's pretty sexy when she's not a spider.
But
Also,
then she turns
her
into
spider-
a spider.
Yeah, but her spider form
Yeah.
also really sucks at melee.
Yeah, but baby,
It's
you
like
got
right-
real ugly.
It's Demon City Shinjuku here.
I mean, it's it's also one of those games where you have like 7 party members, but you can only have 3 extra at a time. It's
So you
like
have to cycle if you wanna
"Ah,
see what
Jesus
they do."
Christ. I have all these people. Apparently, they all hang around and drink beer while I'm out adventuring.
Yeah, have fun spelunking or whatever the hell
Yeah,
you're
you're
doing in
doing,
the cave
oh,
over
Oh,
there.
oh, by the way, at some point during some podcast, we're gonna have you turn on Fable and see how rich you are.
See how much money I have now?
if
It's
you're
been
Warren
like-
Buffett yet.
It's been
If that
9
doesn't qualify as research.
Yeah, it's been like 9 months since I've played.
We
that
ought to
game.
just like take a photo of it and see how much money you have.
Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous.
You can make it the little screen cap for the episode number.
I don't know. Well, you really ought to work harder for that. And if you've been gone for 9 months, everything ought to like been repossessed for back taxes. or
Yeah,
something.
something. Yeah.
It's like Animal Crossing.
You've totally forgotten how to forge anything. You're totally useless and weak.
No,
Find yourself
no,
just curled up
the
like
bank. The bank defaulted.
No, he's gonna come in. He's gonna find himself curled up, drunk in the back of a bar or something.
Your wife is
Naked.
left you and taking the kids.
What happened?
He married the cobbler.
He's talking about the peach cobbler.
Yes.
You just drank yourself into a stupor every night. Was sold every bit of clothing you had for that
Yeah.
next drink.
The villagers came in while you were sleeping and beat you senseless and took all their deeds back to their houses.
It's more likely than you think.
Yeah.
So, any other news that we have before we wrap this thing up, or
Well,
good to go?
Defense Grid released some new maps. So have you
Mhm.
bought it yet?
Not yet. I've been too busy playing nothing because I've been doing a couple projects for Non-DesCon, including the greatest games you've never heard of. So I've been doing a lot of video capture of a bunch of old games. But then I decided, well, I'll just work, smarter and not harder, and download the attachment for Firefox so I can actually download YouTube videos and convert it to
Video download helper.
yeah,
Yes.
MP4 files
Yes.
that are easily, can be edited and start finding footage that way. It's like, well, why should I reinvent the wheel? Maybe someone's already done it for me.
Is
Seems
Trio the
likely.
Punch going to be in that presentation?
It's the
there?
greatest games you've never
That
heard
is
of.
the greatest game I've never heard of.
No.
No, Unga Bunga's
You've got a
good.
whole section for PowerShell.
Unga bunga.
Actually, that's a good idea. I should put Power Shovel on there.
You should.
I'll have to get it. I'll have to download it off YouTube because I don't own a copy of the game.
Well, Brian and I do.
Yeah. God,
Yeah.
we could just go make footage for you. It's really easy.
Or, I could go film footage of an actual
Oh.
power shovel.
Have you tried-
Although if you can find it on YouTube, you might be able to find some shots of the arcade machine.
Oh, yeah. Because people will be real interested in getting something that they can never get in this country.
Have you tried playing it on your big screen yet?
No.
Oh, that's gotta be cool.
It'll probably play on the
I,
PS3.
I will say
bet
that
it would.
I will say this: when Power Shovel comes out on the Wii, John will buy a Wii that day.
No, that's why he's buying the Kinect.
Oh
You
yeah,
just
the
pantomime the whole shovel.
power shovel on the Kinect.
You gotta shake
And I
your
will
hand after
mention
you
for
pick
the
up wood.
listeners, every one of us looks like a retard at this second.
Yeah, there's you can't see this, but every one of us is pantomiming a power shovel.
Is it a power shovel or a wounded buffalo? Or an elephant in heat? What is that? wait, no, it's a rhino. No, a
So we're playing.
Feed me, Seymour.
We're playing Mr. Snuffleupagus on
That's
the
real.
Kinect.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Bird, I'm real. Please tell everyone.
Was he snorting coke off the floor?
Maybe.
No, Big Bird was doing some shrooms, and that's why nobody could see Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Yeah. These jokes have been brought to you by a grant from the Chubb Financial Group and viewers like you.
And by people who are old enough to remember when Snuffleupagus wasn't able to be seen by anyone else. It's like being old enough to remember when Grimace had 4 hands and stole shakes.
Or when Mr. Hooper was still alive.
Yes. The first, was it first or second season that has the parental guidance warning because Mr. Hooper died during that season?
That was
The
like
DVD
10
set?
years
Yeah.
with it in Sesame Street, I
Well,
thought.
yeah, but the first couple seasons, first several seasons of Sesame Street didn't have that many episodes. So
Dude, there's like 5,000 episodes of that show.
now there is.
Well,
In 1975, there wasn't.
so, and do we want to add any other PBS television series while we're talking
Yeah,
about
how come?
Can we go to
I
Electric Company?
totally agree with Stewie Griffin that what kind of king has a house near the railroad tracks?
What is it, Mexico? Is that King Friday the
King
13th.
I mean, the guy, the cat who lives in a tree has a better
Oh,
place than King Friday did. The owl that lived in the clock had a great place.
Okay. So any 3-2-1 contact?
I remember a lot about 321
You get the pinball theme thing going.
Oh,
I didn't watch that as much as I watched.
actually,
They
Sesame
need to
Street
make that
and Mr.
into a
Rogers'
pinball
Neighborhood.
table.
actually the
That'd be awesome.
the Wikipedia article for that is kind of interesting.
For what?
Huh.
Pinball number count. That's actually what it's called on the Wikipedia entry about that animation. And who did the?
That was the coolest thing ever.
Well, they talked about who did the 1 2 3 4 5 song in the back and everything like that. Which, for those listening, Pointer Sisters. If you're wondering about that.
Hell yeah! I
You know
mean,
what's
way back in the
interesting-
day when they weren't making money, they
And before doing the
Everybody ended
Beverly
up on
Hills
Sesame Street
cop
sooner or later.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
So
That's
there
an
were some
interesting
great people on Sesame Street.
Wikipedia article is attacks on North America during World War II. And even more interesting, attacks on North America during World War One. That's an interesting actually.
Huh?
There
Well, I didn't
apparently
even know
was.
there was.
I didn't either because there was a link from the World War II one. and apparently there was a confrontation along the Mexico-American border between Mexican soldiers with German advisors and American militiamen and soldiers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
When the hell did Germany get into Mexico?
That they were because Mexico is on the side of Archduke Prussia or whatever the hell was going over
So
there.
why don't we have a video game
Kaiser.
about that one?
I don't know.
I want
They
to play
should.
the alternate world where Mexico
Yeah.
invades the U.S. in World
Oh,
War
let's
I.
call Red Dawn.
Well,
It's kind of a weird situation too, where like one of the advisors was like there was a Mexican dude who was suspected of smuggling guns from the U.S. into Mexico to this garrison of Mexican soldiers with German advisors, and there was a U.S. Marine or a couple of them at the border who chased him into Mexico. And then the Mexicans fired on the Marines fired back, and it turned into like this big ass thing all of a sudden. And people are like, they brought in like the Buffalo soldiers had to be brought in, and they had to charge a reinforced trench dug hill that the Germans and Mexicans had done. It's like It's this big old bizarre thing that happened in the middle of nowhere.
Nobody ever talks about.
Well, they
Yeah,
haven't made a
let's
video
not
game
play
about it
D-Day
yet.
again.
Yeah, they haven't played.
go
They
for
haven't
that.
made a video game about it yet. They need
Not,
to make
not
a
yet.
Call of Duty Mexico.
Call of Duty: The Hidden Wars or something like
West of the
that.
border.
Secret Wars.
Well, and I also found out in
West of the border.
I found out in World War II that the Japanese were really bad at shelling from submarines because they would show up along islands and like near like lighthouses and stuff and shell things, and they would cause like $500 worth of damage and then like leave.
Oh, by the way,
So
Steve,
less damage than the ammo costs.
Yeah,
It was more like a training run.
Well, and then they would report back to their superiors that they the one guy brought up his submarine and launched a bunch of shells for like 4 hours at Santa Barbara, and then he reported he like set up some sort of shack on fire and damaged some fencing or something. He did like $150 worth of damage and whatever, and he reported back to his superiors that he left Santa Barbara in flames.
by the way, Steve,
Nice.
in the vein of the History Channel stuff that you're doing, I actually went onto Wikipedia and did a search for video games that are based off Discovery Channel properties.
Boy, you really bored that day? Or
Yes,
a
I
little
was,
bit
because
too
our
much to
systems
drink?
were down.
Oh, okay.
And there was a Deadliest Catch video
game?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
Jesus.
seen that.
So, because I know how much you love that show.
The show needs to be on E or on VH1.
I want to play the Deadliest Warriors video
That
game.
show does not belong
they,
on
they
Discovery.
have the Deadliest Warriors
Yes, I
video
wanna
game. It's
play
called
it.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. No, it's called War Gods.
Yeah, but Dirty Jobs is not a video game yet.
Really?
That at the stand-up at E3 in '96.
Yeah,
Although Dirty Jobs would make for a great Wii minigame collection.
it would do various things. Cranberry harvesting right after the poop snoggler.
They could do Man vs. Wild. Just, fucking Bear Grylls, just steal your controller and take it out into the wild.
Yeah,
Dude, that guy's nuts.
they're all nuts. It's on Discovery Channel's reality show.
But
These
here's the
shows are
thing:
pathetic.
the next property that they need to make into a video game is Whale Wars.
Where you sail around ineffectually for
Yeah.
3 years.
I'm
you,
gonna
and you
use.
yell at
I
Japanese
ran-
fishermen.
I ran out of ammo for my potato gun.
No, that might hurt someone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the whales might choke on a potato. Discovery Channel, either their programming is awesome or it's horrible. One of the two. There's nothing in between.
Anything else you want to share?
No.
All right. So, other than that, we need to figure out what
anything
we're going
else?
to do for episode 100, live from GameStop or something. I don't know.
I don't think they'll let us do that.
I went from an old EB location that's now defunct.
That would be a GameStop.
No, like a place that's like a storefront that's abandoned, and the only people in there are juggalos who are encroach, or they're
Oh,
what you call it? What do you call it when you like squatting?
Go there, get kidnapped, need to be rescued
Squatters.
by a couple of bad dudes.
Yeah, they're juggalo squatters sitting in there with like a book on electromagnetism.
Apparently, we just walked into a Data East game.
the Juggalos have kidnapped the president.
Yeah,
Are you an insane enough clown to rescue the president?
there's your Photoshop right there.
No, I've already done a Photoshop like that already.
Well,
Only
but it's not
one?
like it's going to be right next to it. You can still do juggalos have kidnapped the president.
No,
Are you a bad enough dude to
No,
get the
I'm-
magnets back?
no, I'm doing the old man thing.
All right, you should totally do the
Old-
Power Shovel
old-
Connect game.
Old juggalos.
Or we can just do Milo.
Milo is a juggalo. Fucking connect. How does it work?
How does I use Connect?
Yeah.
Oh. So anyway, well, thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, your number one source for video games since
And juggalo nose blowing information. Sounds like a small elephant over.
Thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.